You're listening to Do This First, a daily personal development podcast that focuses on science-backed, actionable steps towards your best year ever. I'm Santa, your host, and we're here. We're just one day away. This podcast episode originally aired on December 31st. Today, we're talking about something that can absolutely help you exponentially to slay the upcoming year. And we're talking about doing it afraid. The name of this podcast episode is Fear is Temporary, Regrets Last Longer. This is something that resonates with so many, especially when we start to reflect on moments of indecision or missed opportunities in our lives. We've all been there. The feeling of fear that might grip you when you're approaching something that you really don't know a lot about, or you don't know what to expect. It's a big step, whether it's starting a new project, pursuing a dream, or making a significant change in your life. Fear can sometimes hold you back from making a bold decision. But what if we learn to see fear not as a stop sign, but as a signal to push forward? While fear is intense and real in the moment, it's important to recognize that it's a fleeting emotion. It comes and it goes, often passing as quickly as it arrived. On the other hand, regret, the feeling of wishing you had taken action or made a different choice, tends to linger a tad bit longer, sometimes for years and sometimes for the rest of your life. We really need to look at the short-lived nature of fear. When we feel fear, it often seems overwhelming, as though it will never go away. The racing heartbeat, the sweaty palms, the voice in your head telling you that you're not really ready or good enough, imposter syndrome. These sensations can feel all-consuming at the time. But what we often forget is that fear is indeed a momentary state. It exists as a response to the unknown, and its intensity usually diminishes once we take action. I've always said this, there's nothing to be feared, just understood. Once you understand, then fear goes away. Imagine standing at the edge of a diving board. The fear you feel as you look down at the water, oh my gosh, it's tangible and it's overwhelming. But after you dive, something incredible happens. The fear evaporates. You're in the water, and the moment you feared becomes a distant memory. The same principle applies to almost any daunting task or challenge. Fear may grip us before we start, but once we take the first step, it usually dissipates. Think about any time actually in your life when you did something that initially scared you. Maybe it was asking for a promotion, traveling to a new country, or trying something completely outside of your comfort zone. In the beginning, it was terrifying. But once you took the first step, fear lost its grip, and you were left with either a sense of accomplishment or a valuable lesson. Either way, you don't lose. Let's look at regret. Regret is different from fear, that it doesn't just come and go. It lingers. It's triggered by situations that might appear in your life, reminding you of what you didn't do. It's not something you feel in the heat of the moment, but something that settles in over time like an unwanted guest. Regret is the haunting feeling of knowing that you could have taken action but didn't. It's the thought that echoes in your mind when you look back on a decision you avoided or a goal you didn't pursue. Regret often arises from inaction rather than action. When you choose not to act because you're afraid, you may convince yourself that you're protecting yourself from pain or disappointment. But in reality, you're only postponing the discomfort and the pain of regret can be far worse than the temporary discomfort of fear. Think about the what ifs in life. What if I had taken that job? What if I had started that business? What if I had told that person how I really felt? These what ifs can stay with us for years. A lingering sense of, I wonder what might have been. And this is where regret becomes dangerous. It lives there. It can build up over time and affect our overall sense of fulfillment, happiness, and confidence. There are some very long-term effects of regret. When we allow fear to prevent us from taking action, the consequences often extend far beyond the moment. Sure, we may feel a sense of relief in the short term as we avoided discomfort of fear, but this relief is usually very temporary. Over time, the regret starts to creep in, and regret, unlike fear, doesn't fade away quickly. It can stay with you, gnawing at you, reminding you of what could have been. The truth is, regret doesn't just affect your emotions, it can affect your life. When we let fear dictate our decisions, we might miss out on opportunities that could change the course of our lives. It might be a missed promotion, a dream left unpursued, or an adventure left unexplored. These missed chances, these untried paths, accumulate and become part of the narrative we tell ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of. Regrets can even lead to a more profound sense of fear. The fear of never achieving what you want in life. The fear of being stuck in a cycle of what could have been. Over time, that fear, coupled with regrets, can hold us in place, making it even harder to take risks or try new things. You should always choose action over inaction. Fear might seem like the greater force in the moment. It's important to understand, though, that regret is far more dangerous in the long term. The key is to shift your perspective on fear. Instead of seeing it as something to be avoided, recognize that it's a sign that you're on the edge of growth. Fear means you're about to do something that stretches you, something that could lead to transformation. In the new year, as you set your goals and plan for the future, remember that fear will come. It's natural. But don't let it stop you. Instead, let it drive you. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Take the leap, make the decision, and trust that you'll figure things out along the way. The regret of not taking action, on the other hand, is far more lasting. And it's the one thing that can stop you from ever reaching your full potential. If there's one thing you should take away from this today, as we're on the verge of a new year, 2025, is that fear is temporary, but regret can shape your life in ways that no single fear ever will. So embrace the fear. Take that scary first step. Know that you're not guaranteed a smooth, fear-free path, but you are guaranteed that you'll feel a sense of pride and satisfaction once you push through it. When you look back a year from now, imagine looking back with the satisfaction of knowing you did the things that scared you. That's the power of doing it scared. Fear may have been there, but you didn't let it stop you. And in doing so, you created a future where regret had no room to settle in. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to leave a review. You can also read a full transcript of this podcast episode and all of my podcast episodes on my blog at dothisfirst.life. And while you're there, sign up for my weekly newsletters. You can also listen to all 365 podcast episodes on my website. You can also sign up for my YouTube channel. My handle there is at Do This First, and that channel this week will be your place to go to for inspiring one-liner quotes. You know, you can check in before your job, before you head off for the day, and be inspired and feel happy, successful, and fearless. Tomorrow, we will close out our Finish Strong micro series with some great advice on how to make 2025 the very best year ever. Till tomorrow.
Moving past the rain, moving past the pain, or past the color blue. I see power in you. Has welded it down. Look around, they can't be found. I see a champion in you. I see a champion in